So far we looked at the teaching from Reb Nachman with some references from the Talmud about why is God separating people, creating different languages, different peoples, dispersing them and all that, because obviously we want to set the conditions for success for humanity who are still evolving. Go to the curious story of the Tower of Babel, or what's called Dor HaHaflaga, the generation of separation. And so we're back with the Slonimer on page Netivot Shalom, on page Samech, in the commentary on the story of Genesis, the second Parsha, Parshat Noach, and in the middle of page Samech, we're in the section called Dor HaHaflaga. And let's jump right in. This is a really wonderful discussion of the power of both unity and separation. Let's jump in right with the words of the Slonimer. וירד אדוני לראות את העיר ואת המגדל אשר בנו בני אדם. And God descended onto earth to see the city and the tower that the humans had built or were building. ויאמר אדוני, הן עם אחד בשפה אחת לכולם. And God said, look, they all have one language and they're one people. And vayafetz Adonai otam misham al pnei kol haaretz. And from there, God spread them out, dispersed them on the face of the entire earth. יש להבין מה בכל פרשת חטא דור ההפלגה ועונשם נזכר תמיד שם הוויה המורה על מידת החסד. We need to understand why in the whole story of the generation of separation and their punishment, which was disbursement, the God's name is always mentioned as Yud Hey Vav Hey, which is the quality, it symbolizes the quality of loving kindness. Kigon Vayered Adonai, as it says in God, and Yud Hey Vav Hey rescended, Vayomer Adonai, and Yud Hey Vav Hey said, Vayafetz Adonai, and Yud Hey Vav Hey dispersed, Velo Shem Elokim Amoreh al Midat HaGvura. And it does not mention the name Elokim, or Elohim, which is the name of God that represents the Sephirah, the Kabbalistic Sephirah, or the attribute of harshness, strictness. Kmo binyan hamabul, as it is in the story of the flood. In the story of the flood, it is Elohim, or the aspect of God that is strict and punishing and harsh and exacting. But not here. ויש לבאר זאת על פי מה שכתב בדרשות הר"ן בעניין דור ההפלגה. And we can explain this according to what the commentary of Reb Nachman of Breslev, in his commentary on the generation of separation, דור ההפלגה, שהניחו אותנו המפרשים באפלה, who said that the commentators are leave us here in the dark. They're not explaining to us. כי אלו האנשים מה עשו ומה פשעם ומה חטאם אם רצו להיות כאיש אחד חברים. And he asks the following question. So what did that generation, the generation that was building the tower, what's wrong with them? They didn't do anything wrong. They're building a tower, okay, so, people want to build a tower. And to the contrary, they were united. They were as one. They were one people, they had one language. They cooperated. Building a tower takes a certain unity, takes a certain harmony, a certain coordination. It's a wonderful thing. What is God so upset about? Asks Reb Nachman. ומבאר העניין על יסוד, and then he explains, על יסוד שבהכפל הפרטים המסכימים לתכונה אחת עם פחיתות, עם מעלה, תכפל ותתחזק התכונה ההיא. And he says, look, there is a principle that when a multiplicity of individuals are in agreement, are in unity, whether in agreement and unity for something that is good and positive, or whether if they're in agreement and unity about something that is bad, is negative. Regardless, the thing that they're agreeing about will be multiplied and strengthened. And otherwise, unity and harmony multiplies whatever the task or the endeavor that group is taking on. We know that, we say that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And this is exactly what Reb Nachman here is talking about. היינו שכאשר מתאחדים יחד אנשים בעלי תכונת נפש דומה, הרי זה מחזק את כוחם פי כמה וכמה. When people when kindred spirits, people of a similar trait come together, so their potential and their power is strengthened and multiplied. ואם מתאחדים בעלי תכונת נפש טובה, אז נכפל ומתחזק כוח הטוב שבהם בלי גבול. If people that have a positive trait, positive soul trait, come together, that positive soul trait is multiplied and strengthened. ולהפך בהתקבץ יחדיו בעלי תכונת נפש רעה, and when people with a negative soul trait come together, אז הרע שבהם מתחזק. Then the negativity in them is also strengthened, כי האחדות של הפרטים מכפילה את כוחם, because the unity among individuals multiplies their power by a greater order. ובזה מבאר מאמר חז"ל, and this is how the sages in the Talmud, Sanhedrin, Ayin Aleph, 71, explain that kinus rasha'im ra lahem v'ra la'olam, the gathering, the congregating of the wicked is bad for them and is bad for the world. Pizur l'rasha'im hana'a lahem v'hana'a la'olam, the disbursement of the wicked is good for them and is good for the world. כי כנוסם של רשעים, כשמתקבצים אנשים בעלי תכונה רעה, because the congregation of the wicked, people with negative soul traits, אזי אף אם אינם מדברים רעות ואינם מתכוונים בכלל לרעה, even if they don't intend to do evil, and even if they're not discussing evil, עצם התכנסותם יחדיו מחזקת את כוח הרע. The mere congregating, the mere fact of the coming together is strengthening the negativity, and therefore it's bad for them and bad for the world. And pizuram tov lahem v'tov la'olam, and their disbursement is good for them and good for the world. So you see that he is justifying, according to the Talmud and according to Rav Nachman, he's justifying the disbursement of generation of separation, what's called Dor HaHaflaga. ולאור זה מבאר עניין דור ההפלגה. And this is how the whole story, the whole conundrum here of this generation is explained. Shamnam lo chat'u ba'et hahi. They did not commit anything evil. There was no transgression at that time. In other words, building the tower, albeit commentary to the contrary. There's a lot of commentary about the tower, being like building ego and all that. That's all been said and good. But he is actually going to the source and saying, look, I mean, you can project on this tower any commentary you want, but on its face, if you look at it from the simplistic, the literal text of the Torah, what's wrong with building a tower, right? So he's looking for something deeper than trying to project ego, project arrogance, project, whatever the commentary, the sort of psycho commentary is. He's saying this: they didn't do anything wrong. They're building, they're doing construction, wonderful. And he says, and they didn't have any intention to commit any transgression. Ela, Hashem Yitbarach ירד למה שימשך מקיבוץ האנשים הרעים. The Holy One observed that unity is potentially the source for multiplying evil in potential. שאם לעת עתה אין בזרע, הרי בסופו של דבר יצמח מכינוסם רע. ולכן הפיצם אדוני שלא יהיו כאחד, לבל יתחזק כוח הרע שלהם על ידי אחדותם. So basically this is prophylactic. God here is saying, these people are not yet evolved, they're not yet healed, they're not yet at a place where they have mastery over their negativity, over their weaknesses. By this kind of unity, by this kind of teamwork, by this kind of congregating in one place, there's the risk of negativity multiplying and strengthening. ומבואר מדוע נאמר כאן שם הוויה ממידת החסד. And thus it's understood why in this story the only name of God that's mentioned is Yud Kei Vav Kei, Yud Hei Vav Hei, the ineffable name, which represents the attribute of loving kindness of Chesed. מה שאין כן במבול, שהשחיתו דרכם והיו משורש הרע, which is not the case in the story of Noah and the flood, because there the text tells us that specifically that they were corrupt and they were evil, and they were rooted in evil, and that's why in the story of the flood, God's name of Elohim, which represents, as we said, the aspect of strictness and exacting and harshness, is mentioned in that story. So, in other words, here we have an act by the divine, which comes from a place of mercy, comes from a place of wanting to set the conditions for people, for the new generation, set the conditions for success instead of setting the bar so high, so challenging that this would multiply whatever remnants of incompleteness that human beings are carrying with them. ויש לומר שזה מה שבאה התורה הקדושה ללמד אותנו בפרשה הזו של דור ההפלגה. And here is where, the homiletic, which I think is beautiful, of the Slonimer, he's going to go a little deeper, take us a tad deeper into in what he thinks the meaning of this teaching really is. So far we looked at the teaching from Reb Nachman with some references from the Talmud about why is God separating people, creating different languages, different peoples, dispersing them and all that, because obviously we want to set the conditions for success for humanity who are still evolving. And let's see where the Slonimer takes this next. יש לומר שזה מה שבאה התורה הקדושה ללמד אותנו בפרשה הזו של דור ההפלגה. So he says, so here's what the Torah is really teaching us. Here's the deep lesson. שלכאורה הרי מהי דהבה הווה, אלא שממנו ניקח לעבודת השם. So we could look at this as, okay, what happened. They got dispersed, we don't understand it. But he says, no, we can learn from this something about divine service. In other words, something about spiritual practice. Et godel inyan ha'achdut, and we learn from this the greatness, or I would say the significance of unity. והכוח של יהודים המתאחדים ביחד, and the power of people who come together, who unite. וכמו דאמר ביסוד העבודה, and as is written in the book, The Foundations of Spiritual Practice, in commentary on the very famous verse in Psalms, Psalm Kuf Lamed Gimel, מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים ביחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. We all know the song. How good and how lovely it is for brothers and sisters to sit together, to dwell together. פירוש שבת אחים האהובים כאחים. So he says, that, what does this mean? What is Shevet Achim, this sitting of brothers and sisters together? Ha'ahuvim ke'achim, people who love each other as if they were siblings. Hagam she'einam medabrim birat Hashem, even if they're not sitting together and talking about spiritual matters, talking about the awe of the divine, talking specifically about faith, etc. The fact that people gather, people who have a love, a chemistry, an energy amongst them that makes them feel connected to one another as if they were siblings. כי אהבת הלבבות ממשיכם ומצרפם לאור אחד. Because the love, the connection of the heart among people who gather connects them and brings them together. לאור אחד, to become one light. נר השם נשמת אדם. As it says in the Zohar, that the God's candle is the human soul. ואז ממילא נעשים כל הנרות היחידים אבוקה אחת. And therefore, what happens is that every soul, every heart, every person in the gathering, all these flames together become one large flame. ואז ממילא יתפרדו מהם כל פועלי אבן. And when you have that large flame, all negativity burns away, is separated from you. What a beautiful image, right? an intentional community, a gathering of people who open their hearts, who bring that flame, that divine flame, that pure intentionality, and connect it together with others. It becomes one flame. And I'm sure you and I have experienced that. We've been at gatherings, we've been at times, places where there's just such a, the symphonic harmony. It's like hearts just reverberate right together, like pitchforks at the same pitch. So something happens. There's an energetic change. היינו כי מעצם המציאות של שבט אחים, meaning that just the reality of shevet achim, people sitting together, הגם שאינם מדברים ביראת השם, even if they're not talking spiritual talk, נהיית מזה אבוקה שכל כוחות הטומאה והסטרחה בורחים ממנה. The power of the coalesced flame is really chases away any forces of evil. ויש האבוקה אוכלת את אש התאווה, and the fire of that torch is burns away any fire of passions to do evil. ואפילו בציבור חיצוני שמתאספים 10 מישראל יחדיו, הרי כל ב10 שכינתה שריה, and even with I'm not sure exactly what he means here, אפילו בציבור חיצוני, even with an external public, שמתאספים 10 מישראל. I'm not sure if he's talking here about, people are not religious, even people are secular, perhaps. Which I believe he was so open-minded, this is possibly what he means. When 10 people of Israel gather together, what happens is what's said in the Zohar, that when 10 Jews gather together, the Shekhinah, the feminine aspect of God, comes to dwell amongst them. Even if they're not talking spiritual talk, if they're not talking about devotion to Hashem. As Reb Nachman said, just the mere fact of people gathering together that have positive soul qualities, that in and of itself brings down the energy of the Shekhinah, of the indwelling God. And this is why praying together with others in communal prayer is so important, and all the different mitzvot, he says, that are done communally. Because in a community there is the extension of the divine. And Shekhinah here, the indwelling divine, is also Kabbalistically known as the feminine aspect of God, etc. And I think what to put this in context, I think Shekhinah here is really the direct experience of God, the felt experience. We come together. Buber talks about that, the I and thou, right? God in relationship, God in the dynamic of connecting and harmonizing and team building with other people. And as it is written in liturgy, we sung that not too long ago at the High Holidays. Bless us, our Father, or Parent, all of us as one, with the light of your countenance, with your light. Because when we become a kulanu, when we become all of us, we become a community, an interconnected and interdependent community, spiritual community, ke'echad, as if we were one, nimshechet bechinat avinu, then what extends is the power, the energy of our parent. Another angle on Shekhinah. ואז ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד באור פניך. And then we are ready. We are in a state where we can actually receive the blessing of your light within our unity. Amen. It's such a powerful teaching. It's such a recognition of the power of community and the kind of the aspect of spiritual growth and spiritual work that can really not be accomplished in solitary work. Solitary work is also obviously important. You and I are responsible for our own development, and we're responsible for our standing, and for our lives. But there's something that requires the coming together, and all that is derived from the teaching. In kind of like we learn this from the contrast to the story of the Dor HaHaflaga. Beautiful teaching. We should all be blessed. Find our communities, open our hearts to connecting positively with others, and avoid gatherings that whip up and encourage hatred and bigotry and the multiplying and strengthening of the characteristics that we do not want to grow in ourselves. Let us say Amen. With that, have a blessed day. Until next time, Shalom. Please subscribe by clicking the red button below. Like, share, comment. It is great to have you here. See you later.